Yes. Yes.
Have let's stand for the flag salute and a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Laura, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Sotile,
Present?
Commissioner Edison,
Present.
Commissioner Serco,
Present.
Commissioner Morose,
Present.
and Commissioner Pollock-Rude. Present.
Welcome to the El Cajon Planning Commission meeting. This meeting is being live streamed on the City of El Cajon website. Appeals of final decisions of the Planning Commission made this evening must be filed in writing with the city clerk before 5 p.m. Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, and must include the payment of a filing fee. If you wish to speak on either a non-agenda or an agenda item tonight, please fill out a request to speak card located by the secretary and give it to the secretary, who will call you up to speak when the agenda item comes up for public comment. Can you hear me well? Yeah, I'm on. Okay. We ask that you give us your name, spelling your last name. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. The display on the podium, as well as the other monitors in the chamber, will show time counting down. At 30 seconds, the podium clock readout will turn red, signifying you have 30 seconds until the end of your time. Applicants and individuals representing groups of people may be allowed more time if appropriate. A public hearing comments should be addressed to me as the chair of the commission and not to individual commissioners or to staff members. Please turn off all electronic devices if you have not already done so. Pursuant to City Council Resolution Number 114-79, a commissioner who has received evidence related to a matter before the Planning Commission other than an unescorted view of the subject property is required to disclose such information at the hearing. At this time, we will take comments from any member of the public on any item of business within the jurisdiction of the Commission that is not on the agenda. Under state law, no action can be taken on items brought forward under public comment except to refer it to staff for administration or place it on a future agenda. Is there anyone who wishes to address the Commission under public comment? Please come forward. Now we go to the consent calendar. A single motion will cover all items on the consent calendar. Does the Commission wish to pull a consent calendar item for discussion?
No, Chair.
Okay. Does the staff wish to pull a consent calendar item for discussion?
No changes from staff. Thank you.
I move to adopt the minutes as recorded.
Okay, motion.
I reviewed the video. I'm prepared to vote.
Oh, okay, you reviewed it? Okay, very good. Okay, a motion by Commissioner Serco, seconded by Commissioner Pollock-Rude. Please vote.
And motion carries by unanimous vote of members present.
Okay. The second item is Anaconda Auto Sales Repair. It's a request to convert an RV dealership to auto dealership. It's CEQA exempt, and the staff recommendation is to approve. Staff.
All right. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. My name is Spencer Hayes Flores. I'm an Associate Planner in the Development Services Department. The first public hearing item for your consideration proposes auto sales and repair. The project is a conditional use permit, and the The auto repair involves full service auto repair, including auto body and painting. The project includes a new 2,894 square foot repair building and a spray booth within an existing structure. Other conditioned and proposed improvements bring the site into compliance with current commercial zoning regulations. And the proposed business would operate during 6 days a week during normal business hours. The subject site is on the south side of Broadway between North 1st Street and Oro Street and is addressed 1151 to 1163 Broadway. The site is within the office non-retail general plan land use designation and has a zoning designation of general commercial. As discussed in the staff report, and as a result of a zoning consistency effort in the 1980s, the CG zone is determined to be consistent with the general plan designation so long as a project adheres to current standards. The project site contains 2 equal-sized rectangular-shaped lots totaling 39,000 square feet, and there's a U-shaped drive aisle which connects 2 primary driveways on Broadway. There are currently unpermitted canopy structures and 2 prefabricated storage containers at the site, and both the applicant's proposal and the proposed conditions of approval address these structures through the various options of a demolition permit, a building permit, or a temporary use permit in the case of the storage containers. This is just another quick view at an oblique angle from Broadway. And I'll quickly note that due to the amount of new and modified impervious surfaces, proposed conditions of approval also include a grading plan and compliance with stormwater regulations. And this is the proposed site plan. Again, the new 2,894 square foot repair structure is located on the southwest side of the site, and the structure observes required setbacks from the rear property line. There are no setback requirements from the property line to the west. As discussed, the proposed spray booth is located within Building B on this site plan, and the spray booths are required to be compliant with regulations from the Air Pollution Control District, or APCD. Though the site is not subject to minimum parking requirements pursuant to Assembly Bill 2097, the site plan includes 29 parking spaces. The spaces on the west side of the site plan are intended for customer and staff parking. Spaces on the east are intended for auto sales display. And then spaces to the south, behind the secured fencing area, are intended for the autos undergoing repairs. The site plan also reflects a substantially larger planter bed at the frontage along Broadway, which is consistent with the current requirements of the CG zone. Finally, there's a 24-foot wide drive aisle and fire lane, again in a U-shaped, connecting those 2 primary driveways. Those primary driveways are conditioned to be updated to current regional standards, and then 2 other accessory driveways are proposed to be closed and replaced with curb gutter and sidewalk. This is a quick glimpse at the elevations for the project, and just note here that the primary colors are just to represent the different surfaces. The proposed building is not bright yellow. The building would be clad in stucco with reveals to reduce the visual massing. The proposed building height is 15 feet, where structures are allowed 35 feet in the CG zone. The building includes obviously 4 vehicle bays and metal awnings at the pedestrian entrances at either side. No other updates are proposed to the other existing office structures. And then here's just a short overview of some of the proposed project conditions, which will ensure that the project is consistent with the site's designation and applicable goals of the general plan, that it's designed in compliance with the CG zone development standards, and that it's operated in a manner that is compatible with surrounding uses, and obviously in a manner that avoids adverse impacts to public health, safety, and welfare. So some of those items include the CMU boundary wall required for separation between commercial and residential properties, the aforementioned grading and drainage report, removal of unpermitted work, and then the installation of the permanent facilities for auto repair prior to commencing auto repair uses, same with the spray booth. It's proposed that this project is exempt from review under the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Section 15303. Section 15303 is for new construction and conversion of small structures. And then before I get to the recommendation, I also want to mention that staff received a phone call, public comment after sending the public notice. The individual expressed concern regarding the unpermitted structures and the unpermitted use of the site. And it's staff's recommendation that the Planning Commission approve the CEQA determination and conditional use permit number 2025-0001, subject to conditions, as the project is conditioned and proposes to meet current CG zone standards and is anticipated to operate in a manner which is compatible with surrounding uses. That concludes our report, and we can answer any questions you have.
Thank you. You have a question, Commissioner Circle?
I have one question. I first want to compliment that the planter boxes are getting bigger. Do we have any type of landscaping plan, trees? We like street trees.
Agreed. Part of the project conditions is a landscape documentation package, so they'll need to show us the, consistent with the requirements of the CG zone, planting and irrigation systems.
And I was looking at the diagram and trying to figure out, are those planter boxes the only places where there is not hardscape on the property?
Yes, basically.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So let's open it up to a public hearing. I move to open public hearing. Okay. Well, we don't have to make a motion on that. We don't. Okay. Laura, do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, we do. Holly Robles?
Good evening, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I don't really know very much about.
Ms. Roba, can you bring down the
Get down.
mic? So, very good. And how do you spell your last name?
Robles.
Okay.
I live right there. That's my residence, is at 1173 Broadway, and it's extremely noisy. I'm very concerned about the chemicals. Even today, as I came home from work, they were spray painting, and all the spray paint came over to my front door. I can't have my doors open. I can't have my windows open. And they've been there for quite a while. So we all know what it's like in California to do anything and to get permits. So I'm kind of surprised at how fast this went up and all the stuff that they're doing.
Well, they were non-compliant, but we're trying to make them compliant.
Oh, that's okay.
Right,
I know,
right.
I'm a little confused.
And also,
because I just rent.
all of the painting is going to be done inside. I don't know how long ago they stopped doing it inside. Staff, do you know when the painting?
There was a code compliance case opened due to them commencing auto repair work prior to gaining their approval of a conditional use permit.
Right.
I believe multiple actions have been taken on that front, including, I believe, stop work notices to the operators. I'm not sure of the current status of that code case, but it is still open until they gain approval of this conditional use permit.
Okay. Yeah, so go ahead. I'm sorry for
Oh,
interrupting.
no, that's okay. So like at this time, I can't enjoy my property at all on Saturdays, which is when I'm home, because I work 5 days a week, because it's so loud. And like I said, the chemicals, some of the stuff, I get headaches, it hurts my throat. People come over, we can't hear the TV, we can't hear each other talking. And so anyway, I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew about this.
Yes. Do you have any questions for Ms. Robles?
I do. I'm a little confused. So you're saying that they're operating using spray paint and chemicals and you're smelling it in your dwelling right now?
Yeah, today. It's coming right over.
Oh, no, I'm not. I believe you. I'm just confused. Is this operating right now?
So no, the use is not legally authorized to operate. So through code compliance, we did receive a complaint about illegal operations. We met with the property owners and their representatives. After that, we were given assurances that they were no longer conducting activities that weren't authorized. They did file this conditional use permit application and have been working with us to get it ready to come in front of the Planning Commission. But we weren't aware of any ongoing illegal activities since the initiation of the conditional use permit application. Unfortunately, it's one of those circumstances where, we don't have eyes and ears everywhere. And so unless we're getting, a complaint that's coming directly from the public, we wouldn't be aware of that. So we did get those initial complaints, and that's what necessitated the conditional use permit application. But since then, we haven't had any further follow-up from the public.
And that's fair. That's 100% fair. You can't be everywhere. But now that we know about it and the owner is here, it'd be interesting to see what they have to say about if they're operating outside of the conditional use permit. I have concerns.
Is there a phone number to complain to? Because I'm not aware of where I'm supposed to go.
Yes, we'll share our contact information, both for Mr. Hayes Flores and myself.
Okay, thank you.
Just a moment. Any other questions for Ms. Robles? Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other cards?
Yes, Patrick Shea.
Hi. Good evening. My name's Patrick Shea, S-H-E-A. My mother owns the property, and I manage the apartments for my mother from 1165 to 1173, which is right next to the proposed site. And yes, I can attest that today there was a really strong odor of solvents in the air this afternoon. And it usually starts around like 4 p.m. is when I typically notice the smells. We've been affected directly. Like back in July, we had a young couple move out of one of our units because they had a newborn child at the time, and basically the smell of all the spraying had gotten so bad that they just couldn't handle it anymore, and they decided to move out of the area. So I'm not necessarily opposed to them getting a certificate or working there. I just really want to make sure that the proper permits are in place and they do have the proper air quality controls in place so that if anything proceeds in the future, that we're not subjected to, basically the biohazard or whatever, the chemical fallout. I am glad that there's a proposal for drain runoff, because that was another concern, was whether or not the chemicals are being disposed of properly, and if there are any, rainy days, that things will be cleared up. And like she said, basically everyone was sort of shocked at how quickly this lot turned from basically an empty lot to about like a 4-bay garage with lifts under awnings. The pictures don't really show as much as they've developed, and they basically developed it in like 2 weeks. It was very quick. So if this does go forward, my mother and I would be concerned to make sure that the proper permits are in place, because my father, before he passed away, built a garage on our property, and we had to go through all the proper steps of planning and submitting documents and making sure that the garage was, far away enough from the easements and everything like that. So we just want to make sure that everything's being fair play here. Besides that, I'm not, the noise is pretty bad on the weekends and during the day, but as long as they're stopping at what they're proposing 6 p.m., that's fine. If in the past they have gone later than 6 p.m.
Okay. Thank you. Staff, are they supposed to be painting outside or currently right now or not?
No, so in the general commercial zone, all activities have to occur within an enclosed building. Part of the reason for the complaints that we received is that they were doing unauthorized activities outside in carports, painting vehicles, and doing work outdoors. This conditional use permit application will resolve all of those. As I mentioned earlier, we weren't aware of any ongoing compliance issues since they initiated their conditional use permit application. So what I would encourage the speakers to do is to be in direct contact with staff if they observe those, and then we can immediately go out there and take action via citations and code compliance activities to make sure that they're not doing things that they are not allowed to be doing.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Edison.
So same question, you're saying that as of today, you're smelling the paint or whatever, the solvents, whatever's going on, because that's,
Yeah, 100%.
you smelled it as of today?
Yeah. I mean, like today was probably the first day in like a week, maybe, that I really smelt the smell of the solvents. And I don't know if they were just trying to quiet down because of, the notice of public appearance and stuff like that.
Thank you.
But yeah, today it was definitely back in strength.
Thank you, Mr. Shea.
Thank you.
Any other speaker cards?
There are no more speaker cards for this item.
Is the owner here? You can speak and then fill out the speaker card afterwards. Yes. Can you please come up? Well, you heard the testimony here regarding, is painting going on right now outside?
So currently, I have a full-time job. My mom's part-time at the
Oh,
property.
what is your name? I'm sorry.
My name's Joshua Medeiros.
Medeiros, spell Medeiros for us.
Medeiros.
Okay.
I have a full-time job. A little back history, not sure if it matters to you guys. The property just recently went through a divorce, and the settlement is still not 100% finalized, but the property did get awarded to my mother. So up until a couple of weeks ago, she hasn't had full control of the property. No excuses, but we haven't been able to make any decisions, basically. With the renters, I was unaware that they were painting. I believe she was too. Basically, like Mr. Alvey said, we can't be there all the time to basically keep eyes on them. We fully hear you guys' issues, and hopefully this brings you guys some comfort. We want to get the property basically as compliant and, basically follow the proper steps. Now that me and my mother have the basically deed to the property, we are able to make decisions and follow up on these things. It's not an excuse. Basically, it just wasn't in our control.
So have you read all the conditions of approval, you and your mom?
At this time, yes.
You have? Okay. Do you agree with all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to comply with all the conditions of approval?
Yes, as property owners, that's 100% what we want. The renters are here. One of the renters is out of the country, which he is the main person that we deal with. His name's Shabib Safi. We are in contact, but there's a big time difference, so he's in Russia right now. So yes, we want to be 100% compliant. Bottom line, we don't want to affect any.
Let me see if my fellow commissioners have any questions for you. Commissioner Edison.
We've kind of been down this road before with different properties. So the first question, are you authorized to speak on behalf of the owner before we go any further?
This is my mother right here. She's the owner.
So you're going to be on the CUP?
Not the CUP.
My name is not on the CUP personally. Her name will be on the conditional use permit.
And what is your name?
Crystal Medeiros.
Crystal Medeiros, okay. So
Okay.
you're representing your mother?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as long as you're okay with it.
Yes.
Okay. So the concern I have is that this is being brought before us today, and I'm all for businesses. Business is good, but also you have to have the balance of residents. We have residents that are saying that they're smelling paint as of literally today. 2 different people are saying that they can't even open their windows, and that's problematic for me. And I mean, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. We're going to comply with the CUP. But as of today, the people that are living next to you have complaints. So that's the issue I'm kind of having right now. And I know that you're saying, you know, we can't be there 24/7, but being a property owner, that I own my own business, that goes with it. So it's
Now that we're aware.
it's difficult for me right now hearing this, and I used to live next to a business where you couldn't open it, and I feel their pain where they can't open their windows, and I'm hearing today, it's like, oh, we're going to comply, but something's wrong.
Yeah, understood. We really didn't know. I mean, I don't live next to this property, obviously. I wish it hadn't gone, you know, you understand.
Hey,
We will do everything in our power,
And check.
and we can check and monitor.
and there's a question, Commissioner
Actually,
Pollack Root?
Mr. Chairman, if I may just interject quickly?
Yes,
I
please.
apologize. I just wanted to state that if there were to be future code compliance actions, so Mr. Hayes Flores just distributed our contact information to the 2 adjacent residents. Because this was previously a code compliance case and warnings were issued about illegal activities, the next step would be a citation. And so if we were advised of illegal activities, went out and observed that, we would go directly to a citation. Citations are applicable to the property owner as well as to the business operator. So I can assure the commission that if there are ongoing activities beyond today, all they need to do is give us a call. We'll be right out there that same day, and we'll make sure to take action.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Pollack Root, yes.
Yeah, just a quick question. So the divorce settlement's almost over, so now you guys have the deed to the property, so now you're in control of what goes on there. So have you been, or has the property, the business owners been in contact with you? And they're the ones who did this whole CUP and got everything compliant at this point?
Yes, they've basically been dealing with Mr. Gibson, the architect, to
Okay.
kind of get the drawings, and I've dealt with Spencer a little bit to kind of try to make sure that everything is moving forward,
So
basically.
you're working to make it up to code, and so now the painting will be held inside once the enclosures are built, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So there's no other speaker cards, I'm sure.
Correct, I have no cards
Okay.
for this item.
All right. So I move to close public hearing.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Sotile, second by Commissioner Moroz. Please vote. Okay.
I'm missing Moroz and Pollack Rood. Sorry. There we go. Motion carries by unanimous vote.
So, what say you?
Well, the code compliance issues with the repair work being done outside in like a carport and the spray paint, with the new buildings, the regulations, all the repair work will be done in one building, and the paint will be done inside a paint booth in the other building. That should eliminate all the smells and the noises. And if it doesn't, they now have a conduit to report. That won't solve it overnight because obviously the buildings need built.
Right.
But hopefully the business operators will work to be within code compliance around the improvements. I'm not sure how the business will operate while the property gets improved, but I'm leaving that in the hands of the
professionals.
the professionals. Yeah,
And also a 6-foot block wall is being built as well.
that'll
should-
definitely help with sound attenuation.
Right. Exactly.
So, sorry, Mr. Chairman, if I may, the conditions of approval do require the construction of the buildings as well as the paint booth prior to those activities taking place. So there's not an opportunity for them to continue any types of repair in the interim until they get their construction permits and approvals through county air pollution control.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a check on that.
Great.
Any other comments? No? No? Well, we had a business that was non-compliant, and we're trying to make it compliant, so that's an improvement. And also eliminating the painting that's going on outside with inside of a building where air conditioning, a paint booth, all of the accoutrements to make it safe and feasible for everybody. And staff has stated that they will make sure that the business is compliant according to the standards moving forward. So with that being said, I think that and the conditions of approval have been read and accepted by the new owners. So I think it would be a good move.
So I think we should move to adopt the next resolutions in order, approving the CEQA exemption and CUP number 20250001, subject to conditions.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Pollock-Rude, second by Commissioner Circo. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Congratulations.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
that decision would be final unless an appeal is received by February 17th at 5 p.m.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. The next item, these tablets, I have to scroll all the way through. Okay. Be patient, I'm almost there. Well, it's not going there for some reason. Oh, wait. Maybe this will bring it there. Yeah, let me use yours. I can't seem to get there. Okay, number 3. The project name is Appeal of Director's Decision. A request is to allow a temporary tent for more than 6 months. CEQA not applicable. Staff recommendation is to deny. Staff?
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Noah Alvey, Deputy Director for Development Services. Again, this is a request to appeal a director's decision, and it's related to the use of a temporary tent for more than 6 months. The subject site is addressed as 1324 East Main Street. That's at the corner of Walter Way and East Main Street. The site is just over an acre, 1.08 acres in size. The site is developed with a 5,600 square foot restaurant building. Formerly, that was a Coco's building. The thing to note with the existing building is that after Coco's closed, some unauthorized construction activity occurred within the existing building, and it included demolition activities, which rendered the building not occupiable at this point. So a building permit is going to be necessary in order to make that building suitable for service in the future. And then the last item on the project site is the temporary tent, which is on this aerial image. That's the white box at the northerly portion of the site. So here you can see an image of the temporary tent. So the approval for the temporary tent occurred, well, I should say first, the approval occurred on April 22nd of 2025. The approval was for a maximum of 180 days from the date of final inspection of the tent. So the tent was approved in April, and then it was given final occupancy on May 28th of 2025, and then granted for 6 months until the end of November. At the end of November, a second temporary use permit application was received, and it requested using the temporary tent for an additional 6 months. So with the second application, it was reviewed by the building official as well as the fire marshal. The issue is in the California Fire Code. It indicates in section 3103.4 that temporary tents should not be erected for a period of time of more than 180 days. The limitation of 180 days is really there to protect the public health and safety and general welfare, primarily because temporary tents don't provide long-term occupancy safety measures. Those are things like automatic sprinkler systems, insulated walls, as well as heating and ventilation systems. The appeal that was submitted requests that the temporary use permit be granted. The appeal indicates that the tent serves as a vital resource for over 3,000 families, most of whom are newly arrived immigrants. It also describes the types of activities that are offered within the tent, including education, guidance, resource distribution, as well as the tent being used as a gathering space. I want to acknowledge the activities that are occurring there, the community support and resources that are being offered within the tent are obviously a benefit to the community, but I would note that since April of 2025, when the application was first submitted for a tent, staff were very transparent with the applicant that the tent can't be approved for more than 6 months because of the restrictions in the California Fire Code. We encouraged them 10 months ago to look for a permanent solution in order to be able to continue to provide those services and activities to the community. Options included an interim location or moving forward with a building permit for the existing restaurant building. To date, we've received conceptual images of what the restaurant building may look like in the future, but we have not received a building permit, so there's no activity moving forward for a permanent solution for them to move into. We did receive one comment letter in response to the docketing of the agenda. I'll ask that that be distributed now. Similar to the appeal request, it indicates all of the benefits associated with the use of the tent. Again, I would stress, if you go into the next slide, please. Again, I would stress the importance that we want these services to continue for the community, but because of the restriction in the California Fire Code that staff is not able to approve the use of the tent for more than 180 days. Again, we would encourage them to find a permanent solution. So the recommendation from staff is to deny the appeal and uphold the director's decision denying the request. I do have the city's fire marshal as well as building official are here in the audience should any questions arise with regards to their recommendations. And that concludes staff's presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Do you have any questions for staff? Commissioner Circle.
I have two questions. The first one is, who owns that property?
I do not have the property owner information directly in front of me. I believe it's now owned by the Afghan Community Culture Center.
Oh, okay. The second one is, when I first moved into the area, I seem to recall there was a space on Chase, and I'm blanking whether it was before or after Avocado, but I remember seeing the Afghan Community Resource Center. I believe that's what it was on Chase. Is that not operating anymore?
The applicant is present in the audience, and we do have multiple speaker slips.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there's an affiliation between those two.
Okay. Those are my two questions.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
I have questions, but it's more
For the speakers? Okay. Fire Marshal. Okay, very good. All right, let's open up public hearing. Laura, do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, we do. Mohammed Asif Kohistani.
Honorable members of the El Cajon City Planning Commission, good evening.
Evening. Could you spell your last name for us, please?
My first name is Muhammad Asif, but you can address me as Asif, and last name is Kohistani. It is spelled as Kohistani.
N-I, okay.
I want to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to speak today. Our community journey here in the U.S. for most of us, for most of the Afghan people, started with a very warm welcome, and the support that the American communities have, several communities have provided us. We thank them and thank you all for everything. So today we are here to request the extension of the Afghan Community Center tent that that was displayed on the screen here before. So the tent is being used mainly for worshiping God. But besides that, well, I have a paper here, but I'm not going to read those. But besides that, we use the tent for other community services, such as guiding the community, giving people emotional support, other fundamental religious support that they need in order to thrive in this community, and also for their well-being and the well-being of their families. So beyond, worshiping, there are 3,000 families, 3,000 families, and most of them have arrived, as you all know, after the collapse of the Afghan government in 2021. I myself worked for the U.S., well, I shouldn't be talking about myself, but just a background. I worked for the U.S. State Department from May 2004 until the collapse of the Afghan government. And that is when my family was also evacuated here. But the welcome was very warm, and we really appreciate that. So today we are here. The Afghan community had a leadership before, and that leadership, unfortunately, I shouldn't be saying that because, it doesn't look good, when I say something, negative about an Afghan. But he had kept all of us in the dark. We were never told that the community center tent was going to be for 180 days only. We did not know that. So we only found out in the month of November last year that we need to put an application to renew the tent. And we were like, how is this possible? We only have a few days left. And the same people who put us in dark told us that, don't do an application, from the beginning, just ask for the extension. And we're still, struggling with that. So in the tent, other than the services that we provide to the Afghan community, we also are working with the engineers who are, working on the plan for remodeling the existing building, which is, located on the corner of that property. The tent is very essential. If the tent is removed, a lot of people, the 3,000 families, we will not be able to provide services to them, especially the services that they desperately need. And what is more, one of the very important other things is the donations that we collect from the communities. The tent is where the donations are collected. And if the tent is removed, everything will pause. And we kindly request you to please consider this request as another opportunity, and we will appreciate that. And I also want to tell you a story about myself because we know there were some complaints about the noise, but we will do our best to address that. Now these noises, it does not have to be necessarily louder. It could be just one person, who does not, like that sound, and that person, complained. I think it's not, it's not a good practice to, only listen to one person and ignore the 3,000 people in the community. And as you know, one more thing I want to mention, I'm not a good speaker, but the tent that you see that is standing there, and the 180 days passed, and it is still not renewed, and the building is not remodeled. That shows that, the poverty of our people, but we still do our best to collect donations, and we will, inshallah, God willing, we will inshallah do our best to expedite the construction of the tent. But all we ask is, for the extension, please. Thank you so much.
Do you have any questions? Yes.
What
Commissioner
is your capacity in representation
I was recently,
as of today?
Yeah. I am representing the Afghan community, and my role in the Afghan community is a finance officer.
For the property?
For the property, yeah.
Okay.
To this date, a permit has not been applied for to refurbish that existing building. Why is that? Why hasn't the permit been applied for?
Sir, we applied for the permit in November of 2025, but that permit was, we spoke with Mr.
Alvey.
Mr. Alvey. Thank you.
Thank you. And that is when we found out that, that permit was supposed to be for temporary use only, and it was not a renewable permit.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just if I may clarify, so there was a plan that was submitted in November, which was for the Cocos building, and it was to refurbish, or it was showing exterior elevations of what the Cocos building would look like. It didn't include any structural details or any comments, so there was no permit to process. So that was the information that I have related to the permit for the Cocos building. Separately, we've been in contact with different representatives of the community with regards to the temporary use permit, and so I think the speaker is alluding to speaking to myself in November and December of last year, indicating that the temporary use permit, one, can't be extended, and two, that you still have the legal ability to apply for another temporary use permit, but I was clear and concise in the fact that because of the building code restrictions that I'm not able, or the director is not able to approve another temporary use permit. I also tried to be clear that it's also related to equity and fairness. When we look at approving temporary tents, they can be approved for up to 6 months, but we need to be able to treat everyone equally and fairly. So I would, grant a temporary use permit for anyone up to 6 months, depending on the circumstances, but that we're not in a situation where we can have the justification for extending that based on the benefits to the community. It's really related to the restrictions that are in the fire code and about those temporary structures.
Correct. Understood. Yeah, because it's a gathering of, you said around 3,000 people. That's quite a few people. And if anything happens there, it puts the city in jeopardy for liability purposes as well. So, do you have any other questions? No,
I had a few more for you. First of all, I want to make sure you understand the work that you're doing there. The narrative should not be there. Nobody is talking about the work that you're doing there. It's good work. The problem is state law, and the further we get away from Sacramento, the less power we have. And 3103.4, I believe it is, talks about you can only have 6 months. And it becomes frustrating for us because we get handcuffed at times with state law. State law says we can do this regardless of what is actually happening. The issue I have personally is that street, Waltar, in my opinion, that building should just be demolished. I mean, it just needs so much work, but that's, if you want to invest in it, that's, totally up to you. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. It's been 6 months. So I guess the direct question is, and I know that there is reasoning that you have that why things didn't happen. So my direct question is, what tangible efforts have you guys made to get more permanent situation? Because it's been 6 months.
Yes. Can I answer Mr. Chairman's question first about the 3,000 people? Yes, the community in the community, we have 3,000 people, maybe more, but in the tent, when it comes to gatherings, we don't have, more than 400 people at a time. We only have the number of people that the tent can accommodate. And as far as the, our, efforts go towards remodeling and building the existing building there, we have raised a significant amount of money to pay for the land. We still have to pay a lot more, but we're gathering funds. We're in the process of gathering funds to remodel the building with the city code, to the best of our abilities that we can. And please, we are not asking to we're not asking to disregard the law, but all we ask is for compassion and your support.
Right, any other questions, Commissioner Circle?
Out of curiosity, I was trying to recall where, when I first came into the community, I saw an Afghan something, and I couldn't tell you what. So is there another Afghan community center or resource space? My friend, Mr. Jawad Rahimi, will speak about that. But yes, there is another organization that is also, it's called Afghan, I believe, Afghan Connection something. The name is very similar. Okay.
So it's Afghan Community Connection something, but this is Afghan Community Culture Center.
Okay, so they're two separate things.
I believe so. And Mr. Jawad Rahimi will speak more about that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you so much.
Okay. Laura, you have another speaker card?
Are you wanting to speak next? Are you Rahimi? Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. Mohammed Rahimi.
How do you spell Rahimi?
Good evening. My name is Mohammed Rahimi. It's Rahimi. I am a proud Afghan American living in El Cajon in San Diego for the last 12 years. First of all, thanks so much for giving us this opportunity. I would like to begin by saying one important thing. Afghan community, a huge Afghan community, was forced to leave their country. They were rescued. They were brought to this country by the previous government, and they were about to live here, learn, grow, and be part of the society. And I firmly believe that the goal of every single one of these leaders sitting in this hall is to empower communities, to improve our communities, and to allow them to live responsibly and peacefully. And when we talk about this tent, I was listening to Mr. Ali about the reason that the request was denied. So on May 28 of 2025, the request was approved for 6 months. And the community leader and president of the Afghan community, Mr. Amin Zai, was requesting an extension for another 6 months. It was denied. The reason is that the California Building Code, I don't remember the section, doesn't allow the tent to be used for more than 6 months. But here is the explanation was because we are protecting the safety and security of the community. That's why it was not extended. But here is the heart of the message that we try to deliver today. The Afghan community, more than 3,000 families live in this city. They're trying to learn, they're trying to grow, they're trying to come together to know each other. They're trying to learn about the laws and policies of the United States. They're about to learn about their rights and responsibilities. They're trying to be abiding citizens of this country. And the tent was used to bring all these people, the youth, the children of these 3,000 Afghan families, and especially newly arrived Afghans, to be produced as the next generation of leaders, doctors, lawyers, politicians to serve this city, this state, and this country. That's why we requested the 6-month stint. We get it, there was a plan. We get it that it was told to the previous leadership that it's only for 6 months. We get it, we failed to find a permanent solution. But I'm trying to compare not following the California Building Code, which is not extending more than 180 days. But here, I would like to ask you to think about the impact that the Afghan community is trying to make. We are partner of this city. We are trying to empower this city. We are trying to make it better and stronger by learning more, by teaching our young generation to be police officers, doctors, and politicians, like I mentioned. So that is the purpose, and that's what we use this tent. It's not only about people to come and pray. We can pray at home as well. But we need a space for more than 3,000 Afghan families who are a large part of this city, who are trying to pay taxes, working hard, and being actively playing in the building and improvement of this city and the state. So that is what we are trying to do. And if you extend the
Mr.
tent,
Rahimi,
you're helping us to produce those educated.
Your time is up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But a quick comment, if we don't get the extension, the 3,000 people will be prevented from exercising their religion. We will be prevented from producing the educated generation and doing this excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't leave, don't.
You have a question?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Circle, do you have a question?
I do have the same question. The previous speaker said you might be able to answer. The other organization that's at somewhere else in El Cajon, Lexington and Orange, maybe, in that area, that works in the Afghan community?
There might be a lot of Afghan organizations, not only in El Cajon and San Diego, but across the state and across the country. But when we are talking specifically about the tent, it belongs to the community. It belongs to 3,000 Afghan families who are coming with their wives, with their kids, with their children, to learn about this country, to be abiding citizens of this country. This is the unique production of this tent, and this is a unique business of this Afghan culture center that we have the leadership present here.
So none of that's being provided at this other facility?
Well, if we have any other Afghan-led and Afghan-based organizations, they may play, which I'm also part of one of the nonprofit organizations. But the work that we do is totally different than this community, because this is about empowering the whole community. And when we do something from a nonprofit organization, it's just providing like temporary support and service, which is totally different than what we are doing at this large community.
Okay.
Commissioner Edison, do you have a question? Oh, Commissioner Pollock-Rude?
Yeah, I just have a quick question, because I appreciate your passion, I do. But as somebody who has been in charge of many things, and I know you guys are trying to create a community and have that support for them, and you had the 6 months for that tent, and I know that you have a lot of nonprofits and other people that can kind of compact the money to maybe find a more permanent solution for this to continue, because it is a service that is needed, and we're not trying to downplay the fact that this service isn't needed, but we need to have it in a space that is legal, and that's part of being an American citizen, is kind of trying to find how we can get the profits and the things put together and the backers and whatever sort of funding you can get to get even a temporary situation, or maybe partner up with another space to be able to still do everything that you do, but in a space that's up to code for the city of El Cajon, because I don't want you guys to stop. We're just trying to figure out a solution of how you can continue, but in a space that is going to work for code compliance.
Thank you so much. This is a wonderful comment. I would like to remind you that while we're asking for an extension, we are actively working on restructuring and planning and getting the approval from the city officials to have that permanent solution. Mm-hmm. The president of our community is present here. He's actively working with the engineers, and they already contacted the city officials. So it's a kind of ongoing process to get to that permanent solution. While we're focusing hugely, the leadership is focusing on that, we are trying to have this extension, because in the next 15 days, there will be the first day of the month of Ramadan, where all Muslims are fasting. So this is essential for us, for our communities, to have this tent. So at the end of the day, people are coming together, they are breaking their fast, they are getting together, and this is part of our religion and our community. We are actively working on the permanent solution while asking this intention for another 6 months.
No, and I understand, but I know that NOAA had discussed that nothing has really been brought to them about how to restructure because you guys have a building right there that might need a lot of work, but to try to get the backing to make a permanent structure there so you'll have something that's code compliant. And if there was something already brought to the table with a permit or something, we would know that there's an ongoing process to try to make a permanent solution. But right now, making another 6 months of a tent, not saying that that's a bad thing, but I don't know where the forward progression is to find a permanent solution. You know, if we, you know, because I know you said you guys are trying it, but I just don't know what has been brought across the desk of us, you know, trying to make this all work for you guys. That's all.
I promise you on behalf of the community, on behalf of our leadership, I promise you that if we get the extension in the next 6 months, the leadership will be actively working with the city officials to make the plan and to move forward and to take the next step for permanent solutions.
Commissioner Pollock-Rood, there's other cards that
Oh, okay.
other speakers that
Okay,
would like to
perfect.
hear speak. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Remy.
you.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, Mufti Nawabi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ahmed Shakib Nawabi.
How do you spell it? Mawami, did you say?
Nawabi, N-A-W-A-B-I.
Okay.
N-A-W-A-B-I.
Nawami. Thank you.
Nawabi, yes. So myself, I've been involved with this community also. And I've been here in San Diego since '91. I graduated from Mount Miguel High School, went to Cuyamaca, Grossmont, San Diego State. And I lived all over San Diego. But I'm actually involved with this community here, supervising them in many things of like jurisprudence, Islamic, different things to help the community galvanize, come together. As you said, there is many organization of Afghan community in Al Cajon, but they are working for some specific purposes. But this is where the mother organization that is providing all kinds of resources to Afghan communities, Afghan people in Al Cajon City. I mean, or if you talk about the prayers or educational or many other services that is there, people who are coming in that congregation, in that tent that is gathering, they're providing that almost, for the sake of service only. So because my involvement with them also was there, and obviously I came at the end part of it also, but just to let everybody know, they are actually, because in financial crunch, they need financial resources. Because of that, this thing is lagging, has taken this much time. As you all know, they are all immigrants. They have just come recently. They really didn't have a lot to come with. And most of them are working as, Uber drivers, Uber Eats, Amazon drivers, all these different things. And again, most of them are, getting mostly, help from the, what do we call it, Health and Human Services also. Because of that, they don't have that financial backing in order to actually purchase. The property hasn't been purchased completely yet. It is going, there's an understanding between the owner and this organization that they will come up with the money to purchase their places, but they are allowed. They are working on architectural design of it also, electrical design also. Because I think Alvi was, if I'm not mistaken, I did not meet Alvi, but they met some people in the city, and they said that if you submit these designs, architectural, structural, plumbing, all these things, then the consideration will take place for your permit of extension also. So they are working on that also. They are working with architecture also, and they are preparing electrical and plumbing designs as well, so they can actually move forward with the getting that permit, and also collecting money at the same time, so they can make a final deal and start the construction with that building.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Good. Okay. Next speaker, please.
Mr. Al Paulus. Excuse me.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Al Paulus, P-A-U-L-U-S. And I'm not sure if it's possible, but for illustration, can we get that bird's eye view of the, yep, that one there. So I am a neighbor of this property, the one that's under the subject's site little sign, that block right there. We're probably about 30 feet from the property line there where that arrow is pointing. And I'm the president of the occupant of that building, and also the managing member of the LLC that owns that property. We've been there for 26 years, and I remember the days when it was Coco's, and it was a vibrant business that eventually closed, unfortunately, and soon fell into disrepair. And as a consequence, it attracted homeless break-ins, and the property became really an eyesore. As a result, we were forced to put in a perimeter fence to keep our property secure, and then they had to put up construction. Apparently, they were trying to do something, and they were required to put construction fencing up there. Then the next thing was the construction of the self-storage space next door, where they came and parked a great big construction trailer right about where that tent is now. And that stayed there for about a year. And then the next thing we knew, as soon as that one was gone, we have this huge tent that's at some point within a couple feet of the property line. I understand it's a temporary structure, and as a temporary structure, it's not really very appealing. In addition to that, and it's a little bit hard to see, but towards the northwest corner there, there's another shed of some kind also. There, the gray one. And that's our building immediately behind that in the background. Soon after the property was occupied, it became apparent that they were using it to conduct religious celebrations or meetings, and using amplified loudspeakers to conduct those meetings. And as a result, I thought it was objectionable. I tried to go over there. I was only met with a young man who really wasn't able to discuss anything with me for language limitations between us. So I decided to file a complaint, a noise complaint, with the city. And I'm basically at my wit's end with this property. It's really now 6 months. It's been 8 months later since they've occupied that, and there's not even a prospect of having this done in the next 6 months should they get an extension. So I respect their wishes of whatever that they want to do. It's within totally their right. I respect that. However, they have to respect our property as well. I mean, if you look at the bird's eye view of that long, big property, this thing ended up right next door to us. It may have been, maybe less objectionable if it was further down. But it's right there. It's within literally 2 or 3 feet of the property line. And, that's really what my objection is to it. It's time for us to try and enjoy our property here without this structure there any longer.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Paulus. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
One more card, Mr. Aminze.
Good evening, Honorable Member of the Council of Al-Cajon. My name is Bakhtar Aminzai, President of the Afghan Community, ex-Senator of Afghanistan.
How do you spell your last name?
Aminzai, Aminzay.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's a great pleasure that I am here in front of you, and as my colleagues and my friend explain everything, I just want to bring in your kind notice that before up buying this property, we emailed to the city of Al-Kahan that Afghan community doesn't have any own property, and we are in rented small office in Lexington Avenue. And we want to buy this property if you can see for us if it's allowed for our purposes, what we are doing, like religious, education, and gathering. And we receive an email, no objection, number one. Number two, the Afghan community is shoulder by shoulder standing and helping, and this is our promise to make our city of Al-Kahan great. Not only in teaching our new Afghan and kids and women, those are migrated from Afghanistan, and the education door is closed for the women in Afghanistan. And it's very hard for us to see, and we are seeing some female kids, they are coming and learning in this tent. If this tent is collapsed, we have the same experience in Afghanistan. Unfortunately, Afghan community doesn't have any funds. If we were have funds, we will buy a big building, and now we are collecting from the refugee dollar by dollar and paying to the owner. And we buy this property and self-finance. We are around 100 educated, high qualification educated people volunteer, including me, and we are not have any salaries. We have a dream to see Al-Kahan in a future, one of the progressive city, business-wise, education-wise, and good neighbor. Our people is new, and it takes time to educate them. But we are success until we are doing now. I am the witnesses. First time I come to this city in 2005, when I come newly to the Senate of Afghanistan, I was visit here for 2 weeks. I have the good picture of 2005, but now I am seeing in this city a lot of businesses. We are encourages our business people to establish their own businesses. The main purpose of the Afghan community to educate Afghan and send them to the higher education.
Yeah, your time is up.
Yeah, so our request is to extend the tent, and we, as Mr. Al is say, we totally stop the loudspeaker, no noising more. From the last 1 month, when we hear from Dr. Barka Nouri, who is the Chaldean community director,
Right.
he called. So we are promised.
Your time is up.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Anybody have any questions?
I have questions more for the fire marshal.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, no other speaker cards?
There are no more speaker cards.
Is the fire marshal here? Hello, Mr. Fire Marshal.
Good evening, Commissioners. Kenneth King, Fire Marshal for Heartland Fire and Rescue for City of El Cajon.
Kenneth King, K-I-N-G?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions, Commissioner Edison?
Yes, in regard to 3104, regarding the building. In regard to the California Building Code 3103.4, which is the temporary use permit, what problems do you see from a fire marshal's perspective as far as safety? What problems do you see with extending something that is supposed to be so temporary, regardless of what activities happening there, from your perspective, from your arena?
If the commission will give me just a little bit of leeway, I'll kind of start from the beginning to kind of frame where we're at and why we're talking about these code sections. The fire code and building codes that we're talking about come from the International Code Council, the International Fire Code, International Building Code. That's a code that's adopted by a consensus standard after considerable public hearing. That code is then adopted into the California Building and Standard Commission standards. This is all a prescriptive process with a lot of input from a lot of different interested parties, which lands to these specific code sections, specifically the one referenced 3103.1, which talks about this 180-day limit. The two issues that we look at is that when we look at temporary facilities, we don't plan for permanent uses. There's passive features, active features that are required and absolutely critical on permanent structures. We also, at this particular site, have a generator and temporary electrical. So those 6 months triggers are tied to a lot of the studies and the statistics that we have relating to the permanent versus temporary generators, temporary cord, permanent power, permanent electrical cord, those types of things. To round this off, where we get with a lot of these codes is comes from statistics and studies. Looking at the different studies for this, when we look at temporary electrical, every year we have about 16,000 non-home related electrical fires. Of that results in 22 to 23 fatalities, depending on how you look at those fires. So when we look at temporary electrical versus permanent, those are the stats that drive us to look at some of these requirements. Additionally, when we look at specifically places of worship, we have annually about 650 fires at places of worship. 33% of those typically revolve around cooking sources. In the city, we've recently had 2 fires with restaurants. So one of those types of things where we have these types of communal gathering and we have any type of food distribution, food preparation, those codes are absolutely critical. And when we see that they're not adhered to, we have the potential to have fires. And that's what the codes are bases on. That's what we're looking at when we look at it at 180 days for temporary structures. And then if it's beyond that, we should be looking at the codes, what is given to us from international codes to state California building codes on what would be the minimum requirements for permanent structures and uses.
Very good, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Moroz.
So you're saying that this current tent doesn't even have actual power? They're using a generator and extension cords?
The original application and our inspection that we conducted for the temporary use permit included the information for the generator and the temporary cords. So we haven't been out there to verify to provide power to this type of structure. They would need to get an electrical permit through building and safety, would need to be inspected and meet the minimum, electrical codes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Pollock-Brood.
Themselves, but doesn't have to be a certain setback or something for any walls when it's a tent, or does it matter? Because it looks like it's awfully close to the wall itself on the back of the property line.
So when I mentioned the passive and active features, when we look at building codes and permanent structures, absolutely. When we talk about permanent structures, there are specific guidelines for types of constructions and setbacks. However, when we look at temporary structures, because of the nature of them temporary, we don't have those same requirements for fire resistive rating and those types of things. The fire code, because it is temporary, is very specific, and the separation requirements we do have revolve some around cooking, some around distance to vehicles. However, we don't have a comparative setback, for lack of a better term, for these temporary structures because they're in essence temporary, and we don't typically require the same exhaustive, requirements for permanent structures. But yes, if a permanent structure, we would be looking at those setbacks, the building setbacks. They have mitigations for higher resistive ratings, better construction, you can be closer to the setback, and that's not taken into account for these temporary structures less than 180 days.
Yes, any other questions? Commissioner Circle.
I don't know if you've been around very long in El Cajon. Shadow Mountain used to have permanent tent structures. I work at Shadow Mountain. I had to help with lots of different features in there, one of which was we had to run pipe for the fire suppression system inside the tents. We had wired electricity, hardwired electricity, but we were also running off of buildings that already existed. So it was kind of a tent between buildings and had permanent lights wired in to a fuse box and it was all covered by the building code. So I've experienced one form of permanent tent. I don't think it was actually labeled a permanent tent, but for all purposes it was. It had to be covered by the building permits. We had to get the fire suppression system with all the sprinklers. We had to have the outlets. Everything was grounded. We had the switches. We had drains. We went through even more hurdles when someone wanted to put a coffee shop in the tent. And man, that was rough. What sorts of things would we be looking at to convert a temporary tent into a permanent tent?
So the concept of membrane structure addresses those types of things where we have kind of what looks like a temporary tent, but we call it a membrane structure. And as you said, basically membrane structure would typically still have to follow quite a few numbers of specific codes. Specifically for an assembly occupancy with more than 300 people, even if it's a membrane structure, you would still be required to install fire sprinklers, to adhere to the national standards for the fire sprinkler design, construction, that type of a thing. You'd also have to comply with the current electrical codes for electrical safety, install the permanent fixtures, the circuit breakers, identifications for those types of membrane structures that don't fall underneath the 6-month tent rule. And again, just as to cap, our heart does go out to the refugee community. However, we're charged with keeping everybody safe. And again, these are standards that aren't come up from the city of El Cajon, from our fire department. They come from international and state consensus process.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may just add one item there. I would also emphasize that there are provisions in the zoning code where maybe something appears like it's a tent. So a lot of times you'll see in, like as an example, at like a park, you'll see poles that are, structurally attached to the ground, and then they'll stretch temporary membrane structures for shade purposes in between those. Similarly, in commercial zones, you'll see designs like that for shade purposes. So although they have the appearance of a tent, they're still approved through the building code and evaluated through zoning code standards and then permitted and approved.
Commissioner Pollock-Rood.
Is the mic on?
It's not on. Okay, thank you. There's no setbacks or anything for something that's under 180 days, but if they are asking for another extension for 180 days, then we're kind of beyond that 100-day under, so it shouldn't fall under new categories where it needs to have certain things. If it's beyond a 6-month period, I mean, those different codes should come into play then at that point.
Just to answer, briefly, the code is very specific as far as either you're a temporary tent or you're a permanent structure, and there's specific guidelines for both. So, anything past that, I definitely defer to our very intelligent, knowledgeable building official who has as much at stake as this. I don't want to speak entirely for him. And then for the city, as far as the delineation between temporary and permanent. However, there's no application of the code where we can take a temporary and start applying permanent features. It's typically you're a temporary tent or membrane structure. If you're a permanent structure, then the list is extensive of those passive and active features, which actually may also include fire alarm in this scenario.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Does the building inspector, do you wish to speak? Do you want him to speak? No? Well, you're good. Thank you very much. Okay, I move to close public hearing.
Second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Sotile, second by Commissioner Moroz. Please vote. Pardon me? Public hearing is closed. You want to reopen? Oh, we didn't vote? Yeah, we haven't voted yet. Oh, okay. I voted already. All right. All right. Let's reopen public. No, is it closed?
No, you may reopen the public hearing.
Okay,
Thank you.
reopen public hearing. Come forward.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to clarify two things. One was for the amplified speaker. We definitely have taken care of that and we're not using it. When we heard it, we stopped using it. And I assure the commission and our neighbor that it will not happen again. The second thing I want to clarify is, food was mentioned, that there was a distribution of food, but we bring food from the San Diego Food Bank and we don't cook anything there. We just distribute what we get from San Diego Food Bank to the refugees, to the needy families. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Sure.
The fact that the speaker is there or not doesn't matter. We can still hear their meeting going on because of proximity of the structure to our fence line between us and them. So the speaker, helps not to have that, but it's not the end all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I move to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Sotile, second by Commissioner Edison. Please vote.
Mr. Circo, I haven't quite got your vote yet. Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just before the commission starts deliberations, I'd just like to clarify a couple things for the record.
Okay.
The zoning for the property is the general commercial zone, so it does permit residential, I apologize, religious activities by right. So all that's necessary to move into the existing building is a building permit in order to get occupancy within that building. So if any of the speakers had contacted us, that's the answer that we would have provided, which is religious activities in the general commercial zone are permitted by right. Again, I want to emphasize that we fully understand and want to support the constitutional exercise of their rights. We have no objections to any of the activities that are going on there. The only objection or concern is that they're occurring in a temporary tent, and that is not allowed under the California Fire Code. Our ordinance adopts the fire code by reference, so it's a direct violation of the fire code, and it's something that we can't approve. Again, we want to encourage them to look for a permanent location. When speaking with them prior to this hearing, I encourage them to utilize their funding and resources to find a temporary permanent location where they're inside of an enclosed building where it can be authorized. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Rose.
Thanks. So when it comes to the location of the tent, how did that, we talk about setbacks all the time. We're all pretty much familiar with them. How did it be that it was so close to that other business? How did it get put there?
It was being erected without permits, and that was where it was being erected when we first observed it. And then when they came in to look at options for getting a temporary use permit, it was reviewed by the building official and fire marshal and determined that we could approve it there on a temporary basis.
Because it's temporary. Secondly, did you just say that technically they could get a permit to occupy the old Coco's building for religious use regardless of the condition of the interior of that building?
What I meant to indicate was, first, is that zoning regulations say that that is a permitted use at that property based on the zoning. The existing building modifications were made to the building without permits, so they did interior demolition activities, and that rendered the building not able to be occupied. So there's some structural concerns about what's happening in the inside of that building. If they were to come in and get a permit and upgrade the building so that it meets all the occupancy standards, they could begin operating there by right.
Okay, great. And as far as you know, no permanent power has ever been supplied to that tent because it is temporary.
Correct.
So there is a generator possibly running the power still.
Yes, so the temporary use permit was approved. It was inspected by the building official and fire marshal. I think the fire marshal testified that since that original inspection, there's been no further inspection. So I'm not precisely sure about the existing conditions right now, but that's the way it was temporarily approved.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. So,
I just want to comment that this narrative we're getting a little off narrative. It has nothing to do with, well, to a certain extent, it has nothing to do with what's happening in the tent. I am 100% for freedom of religion. That's what this country is built on. And you're doing good work there. That is not, at least what I saw in the report, that was never a mention of what's happening, that it's good work. The staff have never said anything about that. The problem is 3103.4, which talks about what should be happening, if that tent should be there at all. So I just want to make sure we stay on that narrative. We're not talking about whether or not you're doing good work. That's without question. The problem, what I'm seeing is that it seems to be perfectly blunt. We're pigeonholed. The state law is pretty clear. What your question actually brought an aha moment. I mean, there was demolition site of the old Cocos, but we've seen that before where it could be renovated and remedied fairly quickly with the right funding and right personnel. The tent, moving the tent out of there into the Cocos seems like the old building would be better suited than keeping this tent going. I also will agree with the neighboring business, being a musician myself, yes, getting rid of the speaker, yes, you bring down the decibel level, but it may not be sufficient enough for your neighbors. So that's just why I wanted to make sure it was on the record that the City of El Cajon is not saying that you're not doing good work. The City of El Cajon is not saying you can't do your good work. It's just, are you doing it in the right manner and is it compliant with state law? That's what I wanted to make sure is on the record.
okay.
I think this is not the first time we've been in this situation where there's something vital to our community that's going on, but state law doesn't give us the opportunity to say, yes, keep doing it. A temporary structure has 180 days.
9 months.
It has been longer than 6 months. The community is currently in the process of purchasing the land. They do not currently own it, but they are working towards that goal. They do not have the money to renovate the building because currently their funds are going towards buying the property. But whether or not they can afford to renovate the property, the city cannot allow the tent to continue. It's not in our jurisdiction to say continue. We can't continue a 180-day tent for another 180 days. And I've been trying to think, is there any other workaround for that? Like, if the tent were taken down, a new application for a tent to be relocated in a new location on the same property, would that just extend the problem, or would that be an issue because it's on the same property? And maybe staff can answer that.
Sure. I think there's a number of solutions, and staff would be happy to work with the applicant or property owners in this circumstance to look at a wide variety of solutions. The intent really in the temporary use regulations is not to allow a temporary activity for more than 180 days in any circumstance. So I would be reluctant to recommend approval of a second temporary use permit with some other configuration, but I would be willing to work with them on other options in conjunction with, getting partial building permits for the Cocos building or other potential solutions.
Okay. Yeah, the ideal solution is, of course, for them to move into the building that exists there. And I would hope that they are able to do that quickly. But we have our hands tied as far as the tent goes.
Anyone else? No? No? Okay. All right. I ditto everything that my fellow commissioners have said. However, here, compassion is important, especially in church. However, here, as an authority of the city, or somewhat of an authority of the city, we need to be fair for everyone in the community. And we are unable to set a precedence, because if we give leeway to one person or one organization, we have to give leeway to other organizations as well. And the law is very specific. It's 180 days is the rule, and we can't go any further than that. So we here as a commission, I don't think we should set any other precedents than justice. That's what I'm saying here. So I'm going to make a motion. I move to adopt the next resolution in order of denying the appeal of the director's decision.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Sotile, second by Commissioner Moroz. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And then for this item again, the appeal extends through the 17th of February.
Okay, so you can appeal it until another appeal to the City Council, you mean?
Yes, any decision by the Planning Commission is open for appeal.
Appeal, right, to the City Council.
But
Very
again, I would indicate that our staff recommendation would be to conserve their resources and allocate those towards their mission and finding a permanent location.
Permanent location, very good. Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm going to use my phone. Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Welcome. Okay, the next item is the election of Planning Commission Chair and Vice Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I may, in conjunction with that, I just want to offer congratulations to you. Sorry. So, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to offer congratulations with regards to your reappointment to the Planning Commission by the City Council at the last City Council hearing, so another 4-year term.
Thank you.
Welcome
Appreciate
back.
that. Yes. Thank you.
And then this item is just for the annual election of the Planning Commission Chair and Vice Chair. We don't have a set procedure, but there has been a rotational basis that's been done by the Planning Commission in the past, and so I will leave it to the Commission to deliberate. Thank you.
All right, well, with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Paul Circo to the chair of the commission. Second that, okay.
A motion made by Commissioner Moroz, second by Commissioner Pollock-Rude. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Thank you.
And I want to make a motion for co-chair, Commissioner Rose for co-chair.
I will second that motion.
A motion made by Commissioner Sotile, second by Commissioner Circo. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Welcome aboard.
Oh, you too.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under other items for consideration, there are no additional items from staff and no staff communications this evening.
I have one question. The property behind Home Depot, the mortuary crematorium, I've noticed the building is undergoing changes. What's going on? I'm excited.
They are moving forward with construction, so their permit's been issued and they are starting construction.
Is it my imagination or has the building gotten deeper?
I have only observed the building from Coogan. There was some modifications from the Coogan side of the building, which kind of opened it up, which could lead to that effect. But I don't, there's no additions to that side of the building.
I was coming back on 67, taking the off-ramp to 8, and just out of the corner of my eye, I was like, something is different over there. So I was going to ask him. That's awesome. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
I'll move to adjourn.
Commissioner reports, nothing? No, okay. The Commissioner, okay, I second it. Commissioners Circo made the motion, I second it. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Adjourned.